Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David, and this is your top 5 Kickstarter decks. Yep, that's right, we're going to go through the Kickstarter decks, and we're going to pull out the top 5. And before we get into it, let me just tell you a little bit about the criteria. Because I'm a deck collector, I'm kind of looking for cards that are kind of clean, decks that are really good for Magic, decks that are really good for just playing cards. Because you know what? Cards were meant to be played with. That's just how I feel. And so that's kind of what we're looking for, and obviously there's tons of great Kickstarter decks out there. I've bought them, reviewed them, you know what they are, but you know, if I had to pick a top 5, this would be it. So let's get right on into it. Coming in at number 5, United Cardis. This deck is just awesome, and I can't over tell you how crazy cool all this deck has. I mean, it's put out by Randy Butterfield and Midnight Cards in conjunction with United Cardis and their forum. It's got embossing, it's got foil on the inside. The back design is really simple and clean, and it's just really cool juxtaposition between the green faces and the black faces. And so I just really love this deck a lot. I just think that Randy put his heart and soul into this deck, and it really shows. You might think that the back design isn't all that hot, but I couldn't disagree more. I mean, it's simple, it's clean, and doesn't have any heat to it, and these are great cards for Magic or for gameplay. Coming in at number 4, Deco. Again, what a deck of cards. If you know anything about this deck, you know that it came out in 2 different colors, came released as a set. Super classic, classy, vintage design, old school feel and look, but then just riddled with just beauty and simplicity. It's just a one-of-a-kind deck. The pips and the indices are all redesigned and rethought about, and it just has kind of an old feel. You know, it just feels like it should be in like a vintage casino. So these are great cards for Magic and gameplay. Highly recommended. Coming in at number 3, Empire. Dude, if you've seen my last giveaway, Empire had probably the highest interest. There was just tons of people who were clamoring for this deck. And why wouldn't you? I mean, embossing, foil accents, just crazy all-around detail. I mean, this is just one kick-butt deck. And great for Magicians. There's a lot of bells and whistles in this deck for Magicians, and if you know where to look, you can find them easy. And, you know, stylized pips, and just overall gorgeous beauty. Like, Empire deck, easily one of my favorite decks of all time, and just highly recommended. If you didn't get a chance to pick this up, you want to head on down to Kings and Crooks and look for it. Coming in at number 2, Whispering Imps. I was looking forward to this deck for a really, really long time. The reason why I love this deck is because I love old vintage Magic iconography, and that's kind of what you're getting with this deck. It has a very classic vintage feel to it, but with just standard faces. Really cool courts, if you've ever had a chance to look at it, and just all around, this is an awesome deck. I love this deck. It's great for Magicians. Couldn't recommend it more. Again, if I had to pick some of my favorite all-time decks, this is easily in that category. Whispering Imps. And then coming in at number 1, the Silver Certificate from Federal 52. Now, if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you know that the Federal 52 was hands down my favorite Kickstarter campaign. Jackson Robinson is a highly talented individual and worth all the praise and glory he gets. Out of all his decks, though, the Silver Certificate is my favorite, and I'll tell you why. The deck, box, and the cards just have the cleanest and, I don't know, closest look to just a standard deck, you know? It's a really nice embossing and silver embellishments on this. And if you look at the back design, there isn't a whole lot to it that screams, hey, this is a deck of cards you should be suspicious of. I mean, even though it doesn't look anything like a bicycle deck, it still has the border and the two mirrored circles. So you kind of still get that feel, that familiarity for some people. And I think this deck works well for Magic and for gameplay. Beautiful artwork. You can't argue that Jackson Robinson is just a talented individual. And so that's my top 5 decks from Kickstarter. And as always, if you'd like to learn any more about any of these decks, I would recommend going back to my videos and checking out some reviews. Thanks. Bye.